Hey there, future fellow weird ass black sheep. You weary traveler from bizarre world. But do not worry, you passed the twilight zone. But then you hit the fork in the road.
I love it. You guys are so great.
You decided to take the ride. And rolled right into the most offensive church this side of the universe, the party bin. Welcome for you. Welcome to my humble abode. I am welcoming you. And what we do here in this most amazing place, we read this great ass book. It's called God Said. God said. Because God did not fucking say that. Fight me. I'll tell you what he did say, and it was not there. So fight me. So we started a new book, and if you are interested in finding out what happens in this new book, come this way. I have the 6 for whatever time it is where you are. I have cannabis, cigarettes, coffee, a chair, cat beds, and canine space. Welcome! So, let me know what you're drinking and what you're smoking, and I will tell you when I'm drinking coffee, but I might get some soda. And I'm smoking on something called, I don't even know what it's called. That's how secretive this shit is. I don't even know what it's called. So, there's that. So we left off, Saul died. The Philistines killed Saul, is more like it. The Philistines killed Saul. And then they hung him, Jonathan, and all the other of Saul's sons on a wall and murked them. So these other people came from Gilead. They came and they took Saul and they mourned for him and they buried him and they did all the things that you do to dead people back then. They mourned him, burned him, and buried him. Something like that. So now everybody's running and scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. Most everybody knows that David's supposed to be king at this point. So we are going to find out what exactly is going on. So come this way. We're gonna I wish people would leave my space alone because these lights were off. Hey, who's in the kitchen? Hey, will you shut off my light? Thank you, Kelso. You can't even tell the light's off. See? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we are picking up on Samuel, 2 Samuel. We're going to find out what's going to happen with David. So, let me know what you're drinking and what you're smoking, and let's have a good time. So, now it came about after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, that David remained 2 days in Ziklag. And it happened on the 3rd day that, behold, this is bullshit. Okay. A man from the camp of Saul, with his clothes torn and dust on his head. And when he came to David, he did the face thing. And then David was like, the fuck, yo. And the dude's like, I'm from down that way, dude. The battle and shit. Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you, is what he tells David. Like, listen. And he said, the people fled from the battle, and also many of the people had fallen and are dead. And Saul and Jonathan are also dead. So David said to the young man who told him, how do you know that they're dead? I hate this. David is a motherfucker. Man, sometimes David just makes me so angry on the inside. Because there's some things he does that it's just like, really, dude? Just really? Is this completely necessary? And David feels like it's necessary, but it's not necessary. But okay. And the young man said, by chance, I happened to be on Gilboa, and behold, Saul was leaning on his spear, and behold, the chariots and the horsemen pursued him closely. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and he said, and so I came. And he's like, who are you? And he was like, I am an Amalekite. And then he said to me, hey, listen, you got to kill me, dog. Like, for real, because these people, they're going to treat me bad. So I stood beside him and killed him, because I knew that he cannot live after he had fallen. And I took the crown and his bracelet, and I've brought them to you. So David decided to do the get naked thing. Okay. And so did everyone else. Everybody got naked. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening because that they got hungry. But anyway, they did this for Saul and Jonathan, and for the people of the Lord and the house and the vampires, because they had fallen by the sword. And David said to the young man, so what's up? And he's like, nah, my dad's illegal and I'm an Amalekite. And then David said, why were you not afraid to strike? How is he going to know he's the Lord's anointed? You motherfucker. David is a motherfucker. Man. Oh, why? Why is he like this, big guy? Why is he like this? No one knows. No one knows, but David did it. Look, it's a thing. I told you. He's a murderer, a liar. He might be the other way, and he's an adulterer. David is a motherfucker, and God loves him. And that is great because that means God loves me. Because I am also a motherfucker. But with this, why? He's not even going to know that Saul is anybody except for the king. So shut up, David. And David called one of the young men and said, go handle my light work, Doug. So he handled David's light work. And David said to him, your blood is on your head. Your mouth has testified against you, saying, I killed some dude that David said God chose. How is he going to know that? He's not going to know that. So he definitely wouldn't say that because he didn't know that. You were the only one that says that, David. David is the only one that says that. But okay, we're just going with it. Then David chanted with his lament over Saul and Jonathan. He chanted? Wow, why didn't I read that before? I thought you weren't supposed to do that kind of thing. The monks do that. I thought you weren't supposed to. Okay. So we're just, okay, this is a new thing. This is them adding a different religion into their own religion. These people are fucking snaky. Snaky. Okay. Anyway, David chanted with his lament over Saul and Jonathan. And he told them to teach the sons of Judah the song of the bowl. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. Okay, so the book of Jasher is what it's called. Your beauty, O vampires, is slain on your high places. How the mighty have fallen. Tell it not in Gath. Proclaim it not in the streets of Ashkelon. Lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice. Lest the daughters of the uncircumcised exult. O mountains of Gilboa, let not the dew nor rain be on you, nor your field of offering. For there the shield of the mighty was defiled, the shield of Saul. How is this in the book of Jasher? And it's about Saul. What is the book of Jasher? What is happening? I thought this was old shit. How's David going to know somebody else's book if he's just wandering around, living in places that you shouldn't live in? I don't know. But how does David know this? Songs of the Bowl. It is written in the book of Jasher. I don't know how David knows this, but okay. The shield of Saul, not anointed with oil from the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty. The bow of Jonathan did not turn back, and the sword of Saul did not return empty. Yeah, but it did though. Anyway, Saul and Jonathan, beloved and pleasant in their life, and their death they were not parted. They were swifter than eagles, stronger than lions. Oh, daughters, weep over Saul, who clothed you luxuriously in scarlet, who put ornaments of gold on your apparel. How the mighty have fallen in the midst of battle. Jonathan is slain on your high places. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. You have been very pleasant to me. Hello, everybody. Hold on. Okay. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. You are very pleasant to me. Your love to me was more wonderful than the love of a woman. How the mighty have fallen and the weapons of war perished. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We do this every day at about 10 o'clock. So press like and subscribe and come join us. Chat in the chat. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you're smoking and what you're drinking. Cigarettes count. We just finished chapter 1 of this new book, 2nd Samuel. We're getting into the guts of the story of David. And this is my favorite story of all stories. I fucking love this story. It's great. Anyway, we're going to take a smoke break. So please tell me what you're smoking and what you're drinking. I'm drinking coffee. I'm actually gonna have to go get me a soda eventually. It was something like that, Wheels. It was something like that. How do you like it here at the party pad? It's a really comfortable place, ain't it? There's a couch. We got a big screen TV with my fat ass face on it. Man, it's really comfortable here. And we're reading one of the funniest stories ever. It's the story of David. It's my favorite story. I could read this story over and over and over and over. Oh my God. I could never get tired of it because God is such a character in this story. And I really want everybody to hear God is such a character. He's like in his early 20s. So he's having a fucking blast. Well, not yet, but when we go into the story, God's having an absolute fucking blast. And David's having a blast with him. And just wait, he strips naked on God's suitcase chair. It's a whole thing. And I'm trying to wait for a few people to show up that I know are going to be here. But we're taking a smoke break, Wheels. So join me for this smoke break and keep talking to me. So, hi everyone, like and subscribe. We are in the middle of chapters. We started a new book. We just read through chapter 1. Now we are having a smoke break before we get to chapter 2. So, please chat in the chat during this smoke break and let me know what you're drinking and what you're smoking. Cigarettes count. Hi, cousin. oh, oh my God. I don't know. So, what's everybody drinking? Mm. Sorry, I was scrolling around on shit, making sure I'm shared in places and stuff and blah blah crap. I'm just drinking water. What about you, Wheels? I bet Wheels left. Did you at least press like and subscribe? I mean, you've been my friend since second grade. Literally, Wheels has been my friend since second grade. And Ricky's been my friend his whole life. I don't know how old he is. Like 21. Yeah, 21 or 22. So you guys have been my friends about the same amount of time. That's wild. Okay. So I'm going on to chapter 2 if nobody's talking to me. Oh, well, nobody's talking to me anyway. Okay. Here we go. Then it came about afterwards that David inquired of the Lord, and he said, "Shall I go up to one of the cities of Judah?" And the Lord said to him,
Fucking yes, you can. Oh my god. Man, have the best time ever. Go there. Uh-huh. And then God would go to Hebron. Go see them in Hebron. So, what is happening?
So David went up there, him and his 2 wives also. And David brought up his men also, each with his household, and they lived in the cities of Hebron. Then the men of Judah came there and anointed David as king. You're not that young. Well, how old are you? You got to be at least 18 years younger than me. I think 17 or 18 years younger than me. Because I came to Ohio when I was 18. I think you were like walking and talking. You might have been one, maybe two. Sad. That's Kelso. Anyway, the men of Judah came there and anointed David as king of Judah. So David is now the king of the werewolves. And they told David, it was the men of Jabesh Gilead that buried Saul. And David sent men. Something is happening. Okay. Sorry about that. And David sent messengers to the men of Gilead and said to them, may you be blessed of the Lord, because you have shown this kindness to Saul your Lord, and have buried him. And now may the Lord show loving kindness and truth to you. And I also will show this goodness to you, because you have done this thing. Now, therefore, let your hands be strong and valiant, for Saul your Lord is dead, and the house of the werewolves have anointed me king over them. But Abner, commander of Saul's army, had taken Ishbosheth, son of Saul. Okay, so we're just going to call him Ishi. Ishi. Itchy, yeah, itchy, yeah. Ishi. Okay, anyway. He took the son of Saul and brought him over to Mahanaim and made him king over Gilead. So he became king of the werewolves. So Ishi, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he became king. Hold on one second. Okay. Anyway, he made Ishi king. He was 40 when he became king. And he was king for 2 years. And the house of the werewolves followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the werewolves was 7 years and 6 months. Now, Abner went from Mahanaim to Gibeon, and the servants of Ishi, and Joab, and the servants of David. Okay, so Joab is the head of David's army. Okay. Abner is a vampire and Joab is a werewolf. Okay? That's easy. And they went out and met them by the pool of Gibeon. Hold on. And they sat down, one on one side and the other on the other side. And then Abner said to Joab, okay, let these guys go ahead and, do the damn thing, fight each other and whatnot. So they arose and went over by count, 12 on one side and 12 on the other. And each one of them seized his opponent by the head and thrust the sword through his opponent's side. And they fell down together. And that place is called Helkath Hazuzurim. Whatever. And that's in Gibeon. And that day, the battle was very severe. And Abner and the vampires were beaten before the werewolves. Now, the three sons of... So, these are Joab's brothers. There's Joab, Abishai, and Asahel. And Asahel was swift-footed like a gazelle. So, he could run really fucking fast. Okay? And Asahel pursued Abner and did not turn to the right or to the left from following Abner. And then Abner was like, the fuck, yo. And Asahel was like, I want to beat your ass, dude. And then Abner was like, no, you gotta quit following me, dude. And Asahel was like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you. And then Abner's like, look, if I kill you, literally, if I kill you, your brother is going to eat me alive. Because that's how werewolves are. They just eat people alive and stuff. So if I kill you, I'm done for. So I would rather not. So just quit following me. And Asahel was like, no, I'm going to kill you. You think you're going to kill me, but I'm going to kill you. But Abner killed him instead. And he felt really bad for it. And Abner called to Joab and said, hold on. And okay. And so the werewolves gathered together behind Abner. I mean, the vampires came behind Abner and they stood together on a certain hill. And then Abner called Joab and said, are we done fighting yet? Look, tell these people to leave me alone and I'll tell your people. And then Joab was like, if you wouldn't have called me, y'all be dead. Just saying. So Joab blew the trumpet and all the people came back. And Abner and his men went through the Arabah all that night and they crossed back over. Then Joab returned from following Abner. And when he had gathered all the people together, his brother was missing. But the werewolves struck down many of the Benjamin, Abner's men. There was 360. And they took Asahel and buried him in his father's tomb in Bethlehem. Then Joab and his men went all that night until they got to Hebron. So now we are going on to chapter 3. Yeah, but we're going to take a smoke break. Nobody showed up today. It's wild. Well, I'm glad you showed up, Ricky, but I can't believe nobody else is here. It's wild. Anyway. Yeah, you're slightly not very much younger than me. It's like 18 years younger than me or something close to that. I was right. Okay, let's take a smoke break real quick. Swedish because it's neutral. They normally they normally don't get involved in shit. And also, if you move to some places in Sweden and have children there, they will pay you. There's some towns across the pond around British land and shit that their populations are so small that the countries are paying people to move there and have children. So I would learn one of those languages because you want to have kids, at least have one with a pretty blonde. Look into that because you're young enough to start spreading your seed all over the place. Also, North Dakota, I think if you move there, they give you some kind of breaks. And if you have kids there, they give you some kind of break. Um, but if you were to leave America, I would learn one of the British land countries that you want to move to permanently. Learn that language so you can live there. That's my sage advice for you. Um, but well, look into the country that'll pay you for having kids and learn that language and go there and have blonde hair, blue eyed babies. Dude, most all the women over there look like sexy fucking models, man. They're like tens of shit. So have a baby with one of them and get paid for it. Say less. Oh, I definitely did not say less. Anyway, we're going on to chapter 3. Hi, everyone. Press like and subscribe and chat in the chat. I would love to hear from you. We are on chapter 3 of Second Soul. David is now king of Judah, which is what we're calling the werewolves. And a vampire killed a werewolf's brother, and now we don't know what's going to happen with that. Now, there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, and David grew steadily stronger, but the house of Saul grew weaker continually. Sons were born to David at Hebron. His firstborn was Amnon, and his second, Chileab, widow of Nabal. No, I'm sorry. Listen. His second son was Chileab, and his third son was Absalom, and his grandfather is the king of Geshur. And the fourth was Adonijah, and the fifth was Shephatiah, and the sixth, Ithream. These were born to David at Hebron. And it came about, there was a war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner was making himself strong in the house of Saul. Now, this is gnarly. Look, this is gnarly. Okay. Now, Saul had a concubine whose name was Ritzpah. And Ishi said to Abner, I think you're fucking my dad's whore. Okay, good night, Ricky. Good night, cousin. I love you. Everybody's leaving. Okay. Well, sweet. Okay. So, why are you fucking my dad's whore? And Abner was like, if you weren't king, I'd smack the shit out of your smart ass mouth. The fuck you talking about? Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you're so funny. Haha. If you weren't king, I'd fuck you up. Don't ever, ever feel it's necessary to talk to me like that again, boy. I am 3 times the age of your dad. So talk to me like that again. So, I've been nice to you, right? Like you're talking sideways to me. But I could have just let David have this whole thing. But I decided to save the name of Saul. But I bet you, by God, I am. Nope. Nope. As a matter of fact, you just lost me. I'm going to David. I swear to God. And then Ishi could no longer answer Abner a word because he was afraid. Yeah, sweet. Sweet talking mofo. And then Abner sent messages to David saying, whose is the land? Make your covenant with me, And behold, my hand will be with you and give you to the vampires. Dun, dun, dun. And David was like, okay, but I need one thing. And you're not going to see my face until you go get my first wife. David's not going to be king unless they get him his first wife. And remember, his first wife was Michelle, right? And Saul was pissed off at David, remember, and gave her to this guy called Balti, right? Something like that. So now David's like, go steal my wife back. I mean, yeah, do that for me and then I'll be your king. So when David sent messengers to Ishi saying, I want my wife. I told Abner this, but I'm going to tell you also. I want my wife. That would be your sister. So Ishi sent and took her from her husband, from Palti. But her husband went with her, weeping as he went, and followed her as far as Bathroom. And then Abner was like, why you being bitch made, bro? Are you going to fight? Because if you're not going to fight, then you're wasting time. And you're wasting my time. I'm going to fight you. Go home. Go home, this is over because you don't want to meet David. So, go. Now, Abner had a consultation with the leaders, saying, the leaders of the vampires, saying, in times past you were seeking for David to be king. Now then, do it. For the Lord has spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David, I will save my people from the hand of the Philistines, from everyone. And Abner also spoke in the hearing of Ben. And in addition, Abner went to speak to David in Hebron, all that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. So the vampires. Then Abner and 20 men with him came to David at Hebron. And David made a feast for Abner and the men who were with him. Dun, dun, dun. And Abner said, let me arise and go and gather all the vampires to the Lord King, that they may make a covenant with you, and that you may be king over all your soul desires. So David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. So Joab came from a raid. Now remember, Abner killed Joab's brother. Now, Joab came from a raid and brought much spoil, but Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away and gone in peace. And when Joab and all the army arrived, somebody told Joab, saying, Abner was here, and the king sent him away in peace. Then Joab came to the king and said, why? Abner came to you, then why have you sent him away? And is he already gone? You know, you know he came to deceive you and learn of your goings and comings and to find out everything you're doing. And then Joab went out from David and sent a couple messengers to Abner, like, David wants you to come back, yo. And Abner's like, okay. So he comes back and Joab goes to meet him. And remember, Abner killed Joab's brother, even though Joab's brother wouldn't leave him alone or whatever. So, Abner killed Joab's brother. So Joab killed Abner at the gate. Okay. And then David heard of it and said, no, no, no. No, this is all on Joab. And may there not fail from the house of Joab one who's totally fucked up and homeless. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, killed Abner because they killed Asaiah, because he killed their brother. And then David said to Joab, tear your clothes and put on a diaper and a t-shirt and lament for Abner. And then King David walked behind the bier and they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner. And the king chanted a lament for Abner and said, should Abner die as a fool? Your hands were not bound and your feet not in fetters. As one falls before the wicked, you have fallen. And all the people wept again over him. Then all the people came to precede David to eat bread while it was still day. But David was like, nope, I'm not eating nothing till the sun goes down. Now, all the people took note of it, and it pleased them. And this is when David became Insta influencer. So all the people, and so all the werewolves and the vampires understood that day it had not been the will of the king to kill Abner. Then the king said, do you know that a prince and a great man has fallen? And I am weak today, though anointed king. And these men, Joab and Abishai, are too difficult for me. May the Lord repay the evildoer according to his evil. And we are going to end right there on chapter 3 of this new book. I want to thank everybody for watching. And if you watch this on Replay Crew, watch it on 2x speed. It's way funnier. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.